Joaquin El Chapo Guzman was Mexico's most notorious kingpin who shipped tons of drugs around the world, escaped 2 maximum security prisons, and became one of the world's most wanted fugitives. He was the leader of the deadly Sinaloa cartel. However, he didn't operate alone. He had an army headed by 4 trusted generals that made the Sinaloa cartels one of the biggest and richest crime organizations in the world. In this video, we take a look at the 4 deadly generals in El Chapo's army of crime and drugs. Stay tuned and watch. Jose Antonio Torres Marufo, a.k.a. Marufo. Jose Antonio Torres Marufo, also known as the Jaguar, was a pretty unknown figure. However, everyone in the Mexican drug scene can vividly remember his ruthlessness. Marufo was El Chapo's top hitman and prime enforcer. He was the one whom El Chapo trusted with supervising the transportation of the cartel's drugs from Juarez, Mexico to the U.S. This was a particularly dangerous job because Juarez already had a cartel and El Chapo started encroaching into their territory. Most of the Jaguar's background is shrouded in mystery, but official records show that he had always been on the drug scene, way before he joined the Sinaloa cartel. The man operated independently and was a drug trafficking freelancer who operated in the Villa Ahamuda area of northern Chihuahua. Torres was also a Juarez drug trafficker who paid a smuggling tax to the Juarez cartel through a corrupt state police officer. We don't know for sure how or when El Chapo met and hired Marufo. All we know is that sometime in the mid-2000s, El Chapo decided to claim the Juarez cartel's smuggling routes, and Marufo was trusted to spearhead the bloody reign of violence that took over the entire region. In 2006, rumor had it that Marufo was directly in charge of a massive group of well-trained elite gunmen known as Gente Nueva. Under his guidance and on behalf of the Sinaloa cartel, they dedicated all their resources towards decimating the Juarez cartel and its armed wing, La Linea. Marufo was diabolically ruthless from 2008 to 2012. People were dying every day under his watch. Official records state that at least 1,600 people were executed by Gente Nueva during this period under his command. One of the most audacious hits came when Marufo plotted to hurt members of the Juarez cartel by ordering the kidnapping and killing of a groom on his wedding day. This groom was a relative of the Juarez cartel members, and unfortunately for Marufo, the groom also happened to be a U.S. citizen. This prompted his addition to the list of most wanted fugitives in the El Paso division of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, and some say the event was what marked the beginning of the end for the Jaguar. However, it was another audacious killing from 2009 that would put a bounty on Marufo's head. On the 3rd of September of that year, masked men under direct orders from Marufo barged into a military education center in Ciudad Juarez. They gathered all the 20 patients together against a wall and shot every one of them. 18 patients died that day, and the remaining 2 were critically wounded. Eventually, Marufo was hunted down, captured, and extradited to the U.S. Today, he is serving a 40-year sentence in an Arizona prison facility. Mario Iglesias Villegas. Mario was once the head of El Chapo's Sinaloa cartel assassin squad. He is often referred to as the Grim Reaper for being a ruthless assassin. While he involved himself in a lot of other crimes, it was his ability to coldly and efficiently kill thousands of people that made him an assassin that other assassins within the Sinaloa cartel looked up to. Mario joined the Sinaloa cartel in 2008 and took orders directly from El Chapo. In just 4 years after joining the cartel, Mario was directly responsible for the death of at least 4,000 people, and all of these murders happened within the city of Ciudad Juarez. Many have argued that Mario's endless violence was one of the key factors that made the Sinaloa cartel emerge victorious in their drug war with the Juarez cartel. However, one of the biggest errors he made in his needlessly violent career happened in 2010, when he, along with Marufo and some other hitmen, facilitated a revenge kidnapping of a U.S. citizen and his relatives. On May 10, 2010, the victims were discovered dead in Ciudad Juarez. Mario would eventually be arrested in 2012 and found guilty of numerous charges: money laundering, drug trafficking, murders, conspiracies, and possession of firearms, among other charges. Unsurprisingly, and because of his violent nature, Mario didn't seem to have any ride-or-die friends during his trial. It was his own foot soldiers and colleagues that testified against him. Some of them had even participated in murders and kidnappings, but they cared more about bringing down the Grim Reaper than they cared about indicting themselves. Eventually, Mario was sentenced to life imprisonment in March 2022 by a U.S. District Court and made to pay a fine of $100,000 for his role in the operations of the cartel. Orso Ivan Gastelum. Orso Ivan Gastelum was El Chapo's right-hand man, his most trusted lieutenant, and one of the deadliest assassins in the Mexican drug scene. Everyone knew him as El Cholo. He was chief enforcer for the Sinaloa drug cartel, the head of the Sinaloa cartel squad of hitmen, and directly responsible for their activities and managing their excesses. However, it seems El Cholo might have been the most excessive. On one occasion, for instance, El Cholo beat up some policemen so bad that El Chapo had to scold him. There was also a wild rumor that El Cholo was responsible for at least 80% of cartel killings, most of which he carried out personally. In 2005, the government came close to putting an end to El Cholo's reign of terror when they arrested and charged him with possession, but after a shoddy investigation was carried out, El Cholo was released by court order. 3 years later, an armed confrontation with soldiers led to his arrest and imprisonment, but he would escape just a year later on the 9th of August 2008. This escape led to an extensive manhunt and near captures in 2010, 2014, and 2015. In 2013, while the army was chasing a convoy of armed men that was reportedly carrying El Cholo, they shot and killed his partner, a beauty queen named Susan Flores. At the time, she was just 22 and had fallen for the violent hitman while she was studying at university. Her death hurt El Cholo so much that barely a month after the tragic incident, residents of her hometown woke up to find 67 narco banners hung around their town. The banners read, "The soldiers killed her because they came to kill me and they couldn't. The girl had never carried guns, much less fired them." Eventually, on the 8th of January 2016, El Cholo was captured with El Chapo in a targeted raid of the drug lord's safe house in the Sinaloa Pacific Coast city of Los Mochis. Initially, they both were able to escape through a tunnel. However, they were arrested at a checkpoint by local police. Since then, El Chapo has been extradited and sentenced to life imprisonment in a supermax prison. El Cholo has tried and failed to appeal his extradition, and when he inevitably faces a court in the U.S., he would likely suffer the same fate his boss is currently suffering, a lifetime behind bars. Manuel Aponte Alejandro Gomez Diaz. El Bravo, or Manuel Aponte Alejandro Gomez Diaz, was often described as the fearless one. He was a disciplined and high-ranking member of the Sinaloa cartel. Aponte's story is one fit for the silver screen. Unlike El Chapo's other Sicarios, Aponte did not begin his life as a societal outcast. He was born on the 10th of December 1974 in the city of Chilpancingo, Guerrero, Mexico. The man would choose to become a member of the Mexican Armed Forces. While this sounds crazy, from 2000 to 2006, Aponte served under the Mexican Army before he became a professional hitman, drug trafficker, and close lieutenant of El Chapo. This treacherous carpet-crossing event happened when Aponte was sent on a mission by the Mexican Armed Forces to track down El Chapo. However, when he came face-to-face with the Sinaloa cartel boss, El Chapo bribed him into switching sides and coming to work for him. Over time, El Chapo would trust Aponte so much that he also instructed him to spy on other Sinaloa cartel members and fish out traitors. Eventually, El Chapo would appoint him as his head of security. Aponte was instrumental in helping El Chapo escape and evade arrest in 1993 by building tunnels in northern Mexico. It was Aponte who kept El Chapo one step ahead of the Mexican army. In 2012, he became a part of the squad that kidnapped a Mexican Navy operations coordinator named Rodrigo Vinas. Vinas attempted to lure El Chapo into a trap, but Aponte was smart. He called in reinforcements to create a distraction in order to escape the military roadblock, thereby giving them a smooth escape. When El Chapo was captured the second time in February 2014, Aponte fought for rule over the Sinaloa cartel, but on April 9, 2014, his mutilated remains were found in La Cruz de Elota. Alejandro Aponte had been tortured and shot several times. While his killing has never been solved, most point fingers at warring members within the Sinaloa cartel, whom Aponte had once spied upon. What a horrible way to die. That's all for today's video. Hope you enjoyed watching this one. Thanks for watching.